Paguntahe Hodashana. My given name is Sam McCracken. I come from the Assiniboine Sioux tribe from the Fort Peck Indian Reservation in northeastern Montana. I am the founder, visionary, and general manager of a brand at Nike called Nike N7. Nike N7 is really grounded in the ethos of 7 generations. And it reads, in every deliberation, we must consider the impact of our decisions on 7 generations. And my grandfather explained to me as a young man that I needed to really stay grounded in who I was and what I stood for. It reminded me that I was in the middle. And I look back 3 generations for guidance, direction, and focus, and learn from the people who came before me. And then provide inspiration to generations who come after me and give them opportunities to be the best versions of themselves. And that was the cusp of me sitting in an office in Beaverton, Oregon, and creating it. And ironically, our MC, Kevin Carroll, who was a Nike employee 26 years ago, I was telling him that I had this vision to do this, and he said one thing to me. He said, Sam McCracken, stop talking about it and be about it. So I wrote my business plan. So thank you to that very inspirational words of Kevin Carroll. At N7, we have a variety. We bring the beacon of hope and inspiration to indigenous youth all across the US and Canada. We have a collection of products we drop twice a year. We drop them on Native American Heritage Month and Indigenous Peoples Day. I happen to be wearing a beautiful pair of SB Dunks that will launch on 6/21, and one of our panelists, Greenwood, will be featured in that campaign as we start to venture into the world of indigenous skate. So we're excited about that opportunity to really inspire and create a new platform for people who love the world of skate. What's ironic about that is, skate is an Olympic sport now, and some of the first Olympians with the United States were indigenous. A decathlete, Jim Thorpe, and swimmer, Duke Kahanamoku. Very inspiring, who really paved the way for indigenous athletes in the future. And most importantly for me, my role model, my good friend, 1964 gold medalist, Billy Mills. It was an inspiration to all of us in our indigenous communities. There is no denying the human potential of our indigenous youth. But to see the potential, you also must acknowledge the barriers and the access to that. Knowing the benefits, the antidote that what Native youth need to heal and thrive, and I will tell you, in our communities, historical trauma is a real thing. It's real. It lives and breathes every day in our community. But how can sport provide accessibility to some of the hardest reaching populations within the US and Canada? And I heard a lot of conversation as I sat in the audience, just like you are, about rural. How do you connect with rural? And I think at N7, that's our mantra. That's what we do. We connect in rural communities, and we bring sport and all of its benefits. So it's my honor today to welcome some leaders in our community who have the same vision and urgency as we have here at Nike N7. So please join me in putting your hands together. A good Project Play welcome to our panelists coming up to speak. Please welcome Jeff, Jay, Dior, and my good friend Don, who will be the panelists. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Okay, well, it's an honor and privilege to be here with you all. We would like to start our time here by introducing ourselves in traditional ways. So, aloha kako, o John Harflinger ko inoa, o Everesta ka inoa o ko'u makuahine, o Timothy ka inoa o ko'u makuakane, No wainai moku mai au. Woo! Aloha, everyone. Greetings to you all. My name is Dawn Harflinger. I'm the daughter of Timothy and Everesta Coleman, and I am from the west side of Oahu, otherwise known as Waianae. West side is the best side. So just, letting you know that we have the best beaches, but try not to come, when it's really good days. Okay, so... But welcome to the final panel of an amazing 2 days with all of our brothers and sisters who love sports. So let's start off with our welcoming. We will start off with a little-known member of a little-known band called Pearl Jam. Jeff, go for it.
Thanks. I'm Jeff Ament. I've been a musician and a skateboarder for over 40 years. I grew up in a small rural community called Big Sandy in north central Montana, about 10 miles from the Rocky Boy Reservation. I've spent the last 30 years in Pearl Jam. We've run a foundation there called Vitalogy Foundation, which about 10 years ago we spun off into Montana Pool Service because there was so much work to do. I need to be part of two foundations. So this is my buddy Jay from Browning.
Oki Nistu Nidonku. I'm Jay Bitsui. I'm from the Browning Reservation. It's kind of top part of Montana. No one really knows about it. It's called the Gunny Tribe. I've been skating for a while now. I've had some problems with my family, but skateboarding helps me express myself and be free and get away from my thoughts when I'm feeling down and everything. And off the viola.
Yat she dear Greenwood Yanshe, Todich Inishli, my dish Gishni Bashishi, Ashihi Dashache, Bilgana Ada Schnella. Hello everyone, I just introduced myself in my Diné language. What it translates to in English is I am of the Bitterwater people born for the Coyote Pass people. My mother's father is of the extinct Salt clan and my father's father is Irish and Welsh. I am of the Diné Nation in northeastern Arizona. I am a multidisciplinary artist. I am a skateboarder and a skateboarding instructress.
So we have a great set of panelists here, and we will be focusing, of course, on indigenous issues and the special nuances that are involved in terms of the lack of access, the lack of equity within our communities, our indigenous communities that are often, really kind of far away from any sort of resources, literally, on maybe land that nobody else wants. And so, I'll just level set first. I'm the CEO of Lili'uokalani Trust. We were founded by the last Queen of Hawaii. We help most vulnerable Native Hawaiian and really all youth in Hawaii. We have been involved with Tom and Project Play since I think 2017 or 2018. We did commission a state of play for the entire state of Hawaii. So we did that for not just Native youth, like all youth in Hawaii. We had some key takeaways from there, which revolve around lack of resources, lack of transportation, lack of opportunities. And so with that table setting, let's dig in to what are the unique challenges for our panelists and their communities, and just even how you got into the sport of skateboarding, which is so cool and so epic. I'm a paddler, I'm a surfer, so we were just talking backstage about the thrill of almost dying. It's awesome, we love it. But Jay, let's start by telling your story. So tell us how you found skateboarding and the impact that it has had on you.
It started with I stayed across the street with my little cousin for a little bit. There's a kid across the street that had a skateboard, and I think it was his birthday, and he got another skateboard, and he wanted me to go skate with him, and I learned how to ollie that day, and I was just kind of skating all over town, ollieing over curbs and everything, feeling like I was the best skater ever, and I was I don't know, it was just kind of something different. I didn't feel connected with other sports kind of, and skateboarding allowed me to express myself. And I met Jeff at Browning, Montana. I was living with my grandma over in Butte, Montana for a little while, for a couple of years, and then she passed, and I couldn't stay with the grandpa I was with because he was white, and it don't go well with tribes. So I went back to Brandon, Montana, and my grandma took me in. And then she kind of supported my skating a little bit, and she was spending a lot of money. And then one year, I heard that there was like skateboards giving out helmets and everything. And I went down there, and there was like a big line, and there was like a whole bunch of stuff he was giving out, and I was stoked. And I didn't get nothing but a helmet. But later on that day, I had the helmet and broke it actually. Good use though. But I learned, front 50 on the deep end, and he gave me a board, and that's the first thing I ever kind of accomplished, and kind of just stuck with me, and never wanted to do anything else, and I feel free when I'm doing it. Oh, my bad.
Thank you. We were talking yesterday, and Jay had a beautiful, and this kind of, I think this is reflective of your indigenous roots. You said something very beautiful yesterday about the sound the skateboard makes on different surfaces and what it sounds like. Can you just touch on that?
I like the way the wheels sound on like brick. It's like, it's kind of different. All the sounds are different. I love it's kind of music to my ears, honestly.
Like a heartbeat, right?
Yeah, exactly, a heartbeat. It allows, sorry, I'm kind of nervous and crazy, honestly.
You're doing amazing. Yes.
I don't really like listening to music. I do here and there, but I kind of don't like the lyrics and how the people express their emotions through it, and I kind of feel it a little bit more than others, I feel like. But I like skating because it's music to my ears. I understand like people like to listen to music and they kind of feel relaxed. Kind of stresses me out, but when I'm on a board, it's nothing but me and the board. I don't see nothing else. I don't think about anything else but the board and what's going on, because if I'm off wandering in my head and trying to do something, I'm skating, I guarantee I'm not going to land it.
Yeah. And finally, before I transition over to Jeff, but how is the accessibility in your community to various sports? I mean, is skating a low barrier for you, just given Jeff's work, and what are the other kind of challenges you see out in your community?
I know a lot of challenges with like baseball and other sports. Like I know like they focus on a lot of basketball. I don't really see any other sports. It's always basketball. And I know a lot of Native Americans kind of want to make it to the NBA. I like basketball, but it's just not something I clicked with. But skating was new, and I enjoyed it. I just don't know how to explain it really.
Yeah, right. Beautiful. Now, can we have a clip to show? Can we show that clip now? And just to see sort of the beautiful relationship between Jay and Jeff. So before we turn it over to Jeff and his work at Montana Pool Service, I'm wondering if we could cue up the clip.
The goal is to have more world-class skate parks here per capita than anywhere. That's the goal.
Isn't that kind of an odd goal?
I mean, but I grew up here, so like I'm trying to bring that thing that I've sort of witnessed, in my travels back to these kind of places.
Jeff Ament has built over 20 skate parks across Montana. It's a project he's sunk millions of dollars of his own money into, and for which he expects little in return. How much does something like this cost?
Like $500,000.
And how much does it cost for kids to skate it?
Nothing.
Not a thing.
Not a thing.
Ament says he wants to give the kids of his state a place to come together and a passion to share.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. So Jeff, first I want to say thank you so much for everything you are doing for your communities in Montana. So tell us why skateboarding, why Montana Pool Service, and just sort of what is the values that you take and express through MPS.
Well, it all started at the beginning of Pearl Jam when the first time we played a big show in Seattle, we said, let's give all the money away. We'll split the money we make from the show up 5 ways, and you can spend it on whatever you want. And the two things that I knew that were in need at that time was there was a skate park in Seattle Center, and there was I had some friends that were in AIDS hospice on Capitol Hill, and so I split my money between those two organizations. And as time went on, every once in a while, somebody would ask about helping with the skate park. And then I met some guys in Seattle and in Oregon that were building kind of the first best skate parks, like the guys that built Burnside Skate Park under the bridge in Portland, which was kind of the beginning of this era of public skateboarding. That's Standing Rock right there. That's up on the screen right there. That's a picture from yesterday, which is part of what we're doing with Nike. I can't tell you how excited I am about seeing those pictures. So back to...
Yeah, well, actually, you know what? We're going to take advantage of the pictures and let it guide the conversation. But tell us what's next for MPS, and tell us about this background of the location and how you chose it and the significance of it, if you would.
Well, we started talking with Nike right before COVID about doing a project together, and then COVID did what it did to everybody else and slowed everything down. And we geared it up this year, and we found the piece of property which is right next to where they're refurbishing some basketball courts, which Nike's funding that. And we talked with Billy Joe and some local folks there about the design, and they said that the circle was a really important part of their heritage. So we designed the skate park with there's 4 circles in it, and it was just like all these parks, like they're so fun to just have a hand in that part of the creativity of it, like to make it all functional. We're very frugal. We try to give you the most concrete that we can for the money that we're putting into it. So this park is going to ride like a 20,000 square foot skate park, but it's only an 8,000 square foot skate park, largely because of the big circle track that's around it. We're a long ways from where I started, but I just can't tell you how excited I am to do this with Nike, and I can't tell you how excited I am about doing another one, hopefully. And
maybe one in Hawaii.
Yeah.
We're doing that.
I have friends in Molokai.
There you
so
go.
let's
There
do
you
it.
go. I just want to pull out the indigenous input into the design, so that you're not just, it's very influenced by the location that it's in, and it's reflective of their cultural values.
Yeah. I mean, it's everything. It's the great thing about skateboarding, as Dior knows, is like there's so much art and creativity in skateboarding that you want to approach how you build your board and how you do your grip tape art and how you ride and what your style is. And so when it comes to building the parks, you want to build parks that represent the community and also are aesthetically beautiful to look at. And you can already tell. I mean, this is like dirt and wood, and it already looks so beautiful to me.
Totally rad. But perfect segue to Dior and the intersection of skateboarding and art. So let's start by hearing your story, Dior, and you have, and don't leave out the postage stamps. So let's hear it all from you, your background. I'll turn the mic over to you.
All right. Hello, everyone, again. So I got interested in skateboarding when I seen my little brother receive a skateboard from my grandfather. The skateboard he received was a below average skateboard with plastic trucks. However, with my brother being so keen on skateboarding, he used that below level skateboard like a professional skateboard. He grinded those plastic trucks all the way till they melted, and then we waited around for the next skateboard. And I had several people support me along the way. And what I find interesting about my journey is I didn't understand how important play is until, my mom told me way later after I started skating, I used to skateboard on a wooden slab with some metal trucks and metal wheels. And I didn't believe her, so I had to vet her through my aunts, my uncles, and say, hey, was this true? And, being from a family in poverty, we didn't have, a camera to take that picture of my mom. but I know it's true because they said, yeah, it's true. And then, I carried myself in a manner where I was like, cool, my mom skated, that's awesome. And then I go into skating 10 plus years, and then my dad reappears in my life, and my aunt shows me this photo of my dad on a skateboard, and I kind of trip out. I'm like, whoa, that's why I had this instinctual, connection to skateboarding, because, my mom did it as an adolescent, my dad did it, and I didn't find out any of this until just recently, probably almost a year ago. So it's pretty wild to know that, how deep play really affects, what you do now as an adult. You don't know if you're gonna have children down the road, or, what you're passing to your kids. So it's really amazing to be here, sitting here, knowing that, I'm a second generation skateboarder, and I take really big pride in that. And so I think that's where I got my solid start, was before I was even born.
Was your mom the inspiration for your, for your entry into designing skateboards? I mean, did you think, wow, if mom put hers together, maybe I should start? Or how did you start?
Absolutely not. How I got into designing skateboards is kind of an unfortunate circumstance. I did carpentry and woodworking as a girl, and all the way through, even present day, we make Native American cedarwood flutes. And so I've always been around amazing artisans throughout my life, being raised in the Navajo reservation. So with that being said, we lost our uncle very early on, and just by luck, my brother and I were able to be around the house long enough to understand what he was doing with his flutes. My older brother got all the teachings, and I just got the cool wood burner that came along with, my uncle trying to curb my my interest in bonfires, I would say. So my uncle just gave me a wood burner and said, you can burn things and not be destructive. So unplug that wood burner and go ahead and go burn things now. So I was really excited about that, and we lost. And along with that, it bridges into someone in our community having some kind of hatred towards the family or such. But we lost our entire wood workshop house. They burned our house. All of our tools were in the house, and all we had left over was a wood burner and old skateboards that I skated on. We sanded those graphics off, started kind of designing the boards, sold our board, got a tool, sold another board, got a new bandsaw, sold it, all the way till we got all the tools back in our workshop. And then after that, my brother just looked at me and said, you got to be crazy if we're going to let you stop making these skateboards. Like the way the youth pay attention to your skateboards, they actually put their phone down. They want to know more about it. They want to know how they can help you with the next run. So, it definitely bloomed from a moment of darkness, and now I'm here, hopefully, bringing this concept of building skateboards and bringing more skill sets along with skateboarding to my community. Yeah. Scrunching up my paper.
Yeah, that is beautiful, and I know we've spoken about the leadership, the coaching that you also provide, and the involvement of youth into not just the actual physical act of skateboarding. There's photographers, videographers, and social media. It's like skateboarding industry, right? And I know at LT that is, in our sports pathway, it's not just for the people who want to be an athlete or want to be in the Olympics. It's like there is space for whatever your passions are.
Full circle.
It's full circle, yes. Okay, so let's, I'm trying to keep track of time and, before we get kicked out. So let me ask some final set of questions of our panelists. So Jay, let's talk about what's next for you. What's on the docket, on the horizon for you?
Honestly, I really don't know. I'm just kind of taking it one step at a time. Hopefully skateboarding goes a little bit farther for me. Realistically, my kind of goal is to kind of open up a shop with snowboards, surfboards, skateboards, the I just like the fact about board and how you have to get off your phone, you don't have your phone around you, and how it allowed me to express myself and travel. And if it wasn't for Jeff over here in his parks, I wouldn't be over in Bozeman or wherever I am going to travel to skate. And it kind of helps me get out of my space and my headspace, really, because there's at some point where I kind of need my parents and I need love, but I didn't know how to get that but on my board. And I kind of wanted to kill myself at some point, and I didn't want to inflict damage on myself, so I kind of enjoy the pain on skateboarding and everything. So I'm going to stick with it no matter what, because if it wasn't for a skateboard, I probably wouldn't be here today. And for him, too.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful and powerful. And you have such a legacy just in your story. It's full of hope, and it's full of dreaming, and it's full of heartbeats. And so, Jeff, what about you? I mean, you've obviously had amazing impact through Jay and through, I'm sure, all of the lives that you've touched. But what's next for Montana Pool Service? And tell us about it. Tell us what's on the docket, including any Pearl Jam updates that you would like to give to us, or any, backstage passes I can get. Just kidding.
Well, to go back to the beginning of what I was talking about, from the very beginning, I've just sort of followed the energy of this thing. Like I still don't know what I'm doing, and I don't have any big goals in terms of where we're headed with it. But there's so much energy around skateboarding and the people that are around skateboarding and the communities that support skateboarding, because they're paying attention to the fringe characters in their community and the kids that don't fit into the square boxes and the courts that have the lines and all the rules. Skateboarding is an activity that sort of exists outside of boundaries and is ever evolving. And even though it's in the Olympics, there's a whole facet of skateboarding that's going a completely different way. And so I'm just trying to pay attention. I mean, that's part of the reason why I'm here, is just to be around people from different communities and to share stories with these amazing humans, and to just go where the energy takes me. And right now we're in Standing Rock, which is incredible. And last year we built two amazing parks on the Crow Reservation, which was like a 3 or 4 year project. And it's really put me in touch with my state that I grew up in. It's just been such a fringe benefit to this whole project over the last 10 years. And there's probably about 10 communities right now that are penciled in for the next 3 or 4 years. So we have lots of short-term goals, but mostly I'm just following the energy, which feels really, it's bigger than it's ever been right now for a lot of different reasons. And that's probably the only reason that I got talked into being here, is because the energy was so big that it felt like, well, yeah, okay, maybe it's time to figure out what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, nice, love it. So I'm getting a death stare because I went a little over. So I just want to thank the panelists. Please, a big, huge round of applause for our folks. You did a fantastic job. Jeff, you have done some amazing things, and I wish you luck. And Jay and Dior, I wish you all the best of luck. Please reach out to them. These are phenomenal skateboarders, phenomenal artists. I can't wait to welcome you in Hawaii. We'll have you there. And I have a couple of asks for you folks in terms of if you think this is a good fit for your organization's priority or your goals, or just to even kind of build community. Please, it's up to us to really pick up the phone if someone else, we come here as strangers, but we all leave as friends. And if someone makes that call and say, hey, do you mind talking about this? Please pick up the phone, because that's what this community is for. So thank you very much for your time. Very honored to be here on the stage with you folks. And the power of indigenous people, y'all. We know how to survive on the land. That's what we do, and we know how to read the energy waves or physical waves. So, it's sort of the that's what all sports and the Olympics, kind of strive for, which is that human story that we have in partnership with sports. It's not just about the physical. It's physical, mind, body. It's spirit, right?
Also, what I like about skateboarding is you're able to express yourself no matter who you are. You can be different ages, and I hang out with guys that are like fucking, excuse my language, my bad. There's guys that are like 35 or like 40, and there's like 25. Yeah, exactly. Like, and still shredding, and they're all welcoming, and you don't ever feel like you gotta be pushed away. You can be goth or express yourself however you want. It's just you and the board, and you and your friends going out having fun, and no one's gonna judge you. Everybody's the same, no matter what you're doing.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.